Hi, Jamil. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today. So, were you looking to have? I think we could do 37 minutes today to add the extra 7 minutes that you have left over. Were you looking to have a challenging session today?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. How have things been since we last talked?
Oh, pretty good, man. And you know what? I didn't recognize you were at the channel panel the second day, and I was only there the first day. So I remembered I had missed back in September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. I was there for day two. Day one, I wasn't able to make it, but.
Yeah. But so I
Yeah.
forgot to mention that last time we talked, but everything's been good, man.
Oh, great. Excellent. Good to hear it. All right. I will go ahead and bring ADRONIS in, and we'll get started.
Okay.
Terra Soul Star Sirius ADRONIS We are here at this time, and we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to the individual known as Jamil. Thank you, and how may we assist you today?
Hey, how you doing, Adronis?
We are wonderful. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. You know what? Lately, I had something amazing happen to me.
Yes.
I discovered another portion of myself, in a sense, through a girl.
Yes.
And in the last 4 years, I had been going through a lot of different phases and a lot of disconnection.
Right.
Meaning, like, I had been studying, a lot of different stuff, like hidden stuff and stuff about, extraterrestrials and ancient civilizations and, all the, like, stuff, a lot of conspiracy stuff,
And it was something that you personally enjoyed, yes?
Yes. But then at the same time, I was extremely disconnected from ordinary life. Does that make sense?
All right. Yes. It is more so in the idea that you have followed more so, quote unquote, the conspiracy path other than your own personal endeavors.
Right. Because I'm looking at it like, I'm like walking the streets, around my neighborhood, and I'm out here talking to people and stuff. But on one side, it's like I'm having conversations with, like, deep cover CIA agents. I'm around, like, Hollywood insiders and stuff like that. I mean, I'm having a completely different life than the average person.
Yes.
And so I close myself off a lot to normal people, or what I would perceive to be normal people, because I never felt that their life would be able to relate to my life, right?
And now you're starting to notice a difference by meeting this other girl.
Right. Well, no, I had met this girl 4 years ago, and the girl had continuously been trying to make a connection with me since then, right?
Yes.
And I saw the girl as being like, kind of like playing, like, she wasn't a little girl. She was, I think like 18, 17, somewhere around there when I first met her. And I looked at her as being like, how young girls play young girl games, like they try to get like an older guy's attention, and they go and, kind of like that type of thing.
Well, we understand from this conduit's databanks, yes.
Okay. And so, that's how I looked at it along the lines. And so that's kind of like how, and so I was more focused on my research. And then I had been so disconnected from the girl that it was like last summer. I mean, the girl, I don't know, I think her parents kind of had set it up, but the girl was like driving past my house with like some other guy, and like the intent was kind of like to make me jealous,
All right.
And I was kind of I was happy for the girl, because I was like, man, at least she got somebody. But I was angry that this was being done to me.
Right.
In a sense, right? And so, but I realized, because I was so disconnected from the girl. That's the only way she could connect to me was through an activity like that, right?
All right.
And then I had expressed a lot of hatred, anger for women in general around this same time. This was in the summertime, but there was so much going on with me in the summertime, having to do with a lot of different things going on in the background, that I kind of use that as a front to express overall anger for many things.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. But so the girl, she kind of looked at me like, man, what the fuck? Because excuse my language, man, but I was saying stuff. I was exposing a lot of hatred, and somehow I got back to her. Like, I was saying stuff about, like, oh, man, I hope she dies in a car accident and stuff. Like, I mean, but I was saying stuff like that, but that's really not how I felt. I was just angry about everything in my life, right?
Yes, well, again, it just has to do with the idea of many things you can't accept, and she basically represented a mirror for many of those things that you couldn't accept about yourself.
Exactly. And then I know her parents were, like, you know, her parents had a lot of hatred for me and anger for me, but the girl, even though she was like in extreme anger, I mean, now she wasn't in anger. I saw her like a month ago, right? And when I looked at her, she wasn't looking at me as being a bad person. She was looking at me as being like a lost companion.
Yes.
And it was strange. I had never experienced anything like that, to have that much connection within so much disconnection.
Yes.
And is that can I relate? Do you relate to that?
Yes, we understand what you're saying. And again, this is basically showing you how there have been shifts, how people have changed in that particular type of way. Because again, people will evolve. They will actually be within a state of silence of realizing that there has been this animosity or turmoil in certain ways. And then when the opportunity hits, that right timing in that moment, that is where things can, in that sense, begin anew. It's like looking at a caterpillar that has now become a butterfly.
Right. And then I realized at that, I never really thought of her before that much, and then at that moment, I realized how I had an extreme. It was very strange through that day. I was feeling weird, and I realized I care a lot about her.
Yes.
And I started to regret my actions and my feelings and stuff like that, and then I felt like a strong love for her.
Yes. Well, again, this is how you are blossoming as well, too. So again, you are simply honoring everything that you have felt for her in the past, because that's the stage that you were at. And so in that sense, rather than regretting it, accept it. The more that you accept that that is what's happened, and again, that was all part of a necessary transition for you to become who you are today and for her to become who she is today.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and then I realized that it was strange because she was still very, I could see she was very unhappy, at least at that moment that I saw her, but she was still expressing, like, companionship or whatever. But in through the disconnection, and then I thought to myself, I was like, man, I hope I want to see her happy. I don't want to see her like that, because every time I saw her before that, she was always really happy. Every time she came across me, for some reason, my presence, she would be happy about seeing me.
Yes.
And so I had sent her some flowers. And I don't think that was, out of all the disconnection, that was very small compared to everything I had done before that,
Well, there really is nothing that represents an insignificance, even if it is something that is a gesture of kindness, regardless of what it is. The matter is that the affection has been shared.
Right. And I don't, because now, before I was so interested in, like, like what the CIA was doing in Jonestown or whatever, or all this, and I was interested in meeting people who, were like, had secret knowledge or something. And now it's turned into a thing where it's like, now she's like the most incredible person I know.
Yes.
Like, I look to her.
And you're understanding the true nature of love in that particular way. From when you have, in that sense, in the past, looked into how the CIA is doing, etc. Those are all aspects beyond your control. And so basically all you're doing is, shall we say, looking at it from a bird's eye view. And again, if that is one's own choosing to look into that, that is their choice. But that's not even really living your life. That is more so, again, stepping out and working voyeuristically. pertaining to the idea about what's happening in levels of conspiracy beyond the factors of your own control. But when you actually start to navigate and gravitate back into your own personal life and interact personally with the people that you feel are important in your life, this is what changes you around. This is how you learn to live with the ultimate understanding of energy, and that energy is love.
Yeah, and I feel where you're coming from on that, but it happened so quickly. It happened out of nowhere. Like a week before that, I wouldn't even have thought anything like that. And then it kind of hit me all at once.
Yes. So again, this is being an example. She is being a catalyst of showing you how far you have come, that you are moving now into the idea of the ground of love. This is basically now your platform. This is your environment now, that you are now starting to move into that vibration. So it is your own confirmation that you have shifted by attracting her into everything that she represents as a love catalyst.
Right. In the girl, I termed her again. I for some reason I ended up calling her the flower girl because I had sent her some flowers, but she had red hair, right? Like beautiful red.
Now, does this girl have a name?
I don't know her. She told me her name. I talked to her now that I think about it, I talked to her about 3 times, but it's been a long time since I talked to her, and I don't remember her name.
It may be good to know her name.
I know her mother's first name, and so I just call her her mother's daughter. You know what I mean? And so.
Well, the whole idea in that sense is that she will catch on very quickly.
Right.
So the whole idea here is being able to start a conversation where she is able to invite her name in.
I don't think but again, there's so much animosity and hatred from her parents to me, and it doesn't seem like something that's probable.
We're not talking about her parents. We're talking between you and her.
Right. That's true.
Now, again, people will have animosity towards you, but you're not forming a direct relationship with their parents, yes? You're forming a direct relationship with her. And so the whole idea in that sense is as they start to see that you are becoming the example of what represents a compliment to their daughter, that energy can shift just as you have.
Right. You're absolutely right, man. I feel that. And you know what else, though, is really throwing me off? Now, I live at my mother's house, right?
All right.
Okay. But from what I've seen so far, to certain elements out there, at this point, I perceive myself, I'm worth a few $1 million or something from the things that have been going on in my life in the background.
Well, basically, from our perspective, you are priceless. But basically, anything that you wish to astonish yourself to a state of value is up to you.
Well, there's been a lot of money spent on me.
All right. Money itself is just a prop, so it really doesn't matter in that way, other than the energy that you put into it, because you are worth all the money in the world and more. Because, again, that's just an invention. That is something that someone has created.
That's true.
That you have moved into yourself to say, oh, well, I'm going to give this value. Money would be nothing without the pertained value of consciousness that you have given it. That's the whole idea. No human is ever, in that sense, less worthy than the state of money. You are the creators of money.
That's true. That's true. And you know what, man?
So money can be worth or it can be worthless, depending upon your point of view. Because, again, you are creators.
Very true. Very true. And, money, again, like wealth, I realize is just an aspect of you can have financial wealth or spiritual wealth or a wealth of knowledge.
Wealth comes in many different forms.
Right.
It does not just come through the habitat of what you would know as your monetary system.
Right. I feel bad because I don't know what to do because I was always used to seeing the girl happy, and then I didn't realize I had that much, the things that somehow it got back to her, my activity and how I was doing, and it's very painful to see her unhappy now.
Yes, because, again, that's something that you feel together. That is a link, a bond that you have created. Basically, what happens when you become very involved with another person, you start taking in their feelings. This is what's known as a quote-unquote karmic connection. Basically, what happens is your own energy fuses with their own energy, and no matter how far apart you may be, you are always connected through that energetic string. And in that way, when you actually begin a relationship, even if it's something just as simple as a friendship, you will feel their particular forms of battles because you show a great deal of care for them. And so you will actually reciprocate the type of energy that is actually coming through. You may notice that you are doing something in your own place, and you may start to feel this flutter of the heart, or you may start to feel butterflies in the stomach, example. And again, what this is telling you is that there is a reciprocative energy that's actually coming through your partner and sharing back with you. That is how you are meant to be. That's how you're all entwined. You are a naturally telepathic species.
You know what, man? That's crazy that you say that. Because I had a situation, this was like back in November, where I thought there was like an assassination team outside this was really more intimidation. They weren't actually there to assassinate me, but they wanted me to believe that, you know. But I thought, man, these people are going to ski mask my house in the middle of the night and cut my throat or shoot me or something. The type of people I pissed off, I know what they're capable of, right? And so I was scared, and I never thought, I've been jumped and beaten and left for dead on the streets. I've been shot at. I've had a lot of crazy things happen to me growing up.
Well, here's the interesting thing is because you're actually calling that towards you on a subconscious level.
Right.
And that's why you feel these things, because you put so much energy into the conspiracy and you put so much energy into people who feel that they want to do you harm, that now your own conscious mind is believing that. And so you are basically attempting to create magnetics, and it's your own subconscious and saying, hey, come over here and hurt me. So that's basically what you're doing when you move into these conspiracy theories. And you believe them so much, and you feel you want to make such a change, and you feel you want to get involved, and you want to foil plans, etc. Again, you're putting so much energy into that, and like a magnet, you're attempting to attract these situations to you.
Well, it was beneficial because I realized that at that point in time, I was afraid of death. I realized I didn't think I was afraid of death, and I realized
yes, we are not stating it as beneficial or negative in any particular way. It is more so in the idea that that is what you have magnetically put towards you through attraction.
Right. And then I thought about it like I was in my mother's house, basically hiding for a month, and I thought about it. Then I thought about the redheaded girl. I was like, man, what would she think of me if she saw me so afraid of death? And so that made me face I thought for sure that was going to mean my life leaving the house.
Yes. So again, she represents an aspect of yourself that relates to reason, that relates to nurturing, that relates to love. And so that is what you are attracting now and moving more into that path, which she represents as a catalyst.
Man, that's deep. And entities, I mean, people, sorry, I say entities because I'm so used to hearing Treb say that, but people with red hair and blue eyes, that's strongly connected to the Druidic priesthood?
There are, shall we say, ancient Celtic cultures that are of that level, ancient pagans in that particular form of level. But yes, it does go back into, shall we say, ancient Druidic times, but it even goes even further than that. Much in regards to the red-haired race, again, has been part of what you would know as your Argothan network. And in that sense, working together with different forms of planets within your own star system, from Mars, from Maldek. Again, so these particular beings have had a large history throughout your own particular star system.
Yeah, and I noticed that out of the majority, throughout my life, out of the majority of the women that I've attracted into my life, like 70% of, at least 70% of them have had red hair. And,
yes.
And so that was something that's been like perplexing to me.
Correct. So it does have a root back to it in that sense.
Right.
There are in that sense several different roots that this represents. Much of this, when you're looking at the red hair in that sense, can represent the idea of fire and passion. It can also represent your roots to the pagan or Druidic cultures. It can even relate to the Argothan network. It can relate to many different forms that represent your involvement pertaining to those individuals. Because again, that represents a perspective that you have once had as well.
That's deep. And I've been having, man, you know what? I've been having a lot of, before when we talked, we were talking about the extra-dimensional entities known as the lizard people, or the reptilians.
Yes.
And those entities, whatever they are, good and bad, a lot of those entities have been in my life strongly.
Yes, they have.
And I feel as though even the ones who, some of them, like you said, they've been with me lifetime after lifetime for thousands of years, Even the
Yes,
ones.
and again, understand that some of these beings, in that sense, will actually be very, in that sense, involved with you. They will be a very heavy influence in regards to looking into conspiracies. So basically, they are feeding you a lot of this particular type of insight relating to thought forms that are saying, oh, look into this a little bit more, go deeper into this a little bit more, because again, many of them in that way, through this particular group, feed off the idea of fear.
But even the ones who have meant me harm to some degree, I feel that they've groomed me like it's still affected me positively because it's groomed my
Yes, it's
psyche.
all part of in that sense a grooming. It's all part of an evolution, because again, that's what you're going through challenge. You're saying, how can I get to the light? How can I move into love? Well, I'm going to put all these obstacles in my way, and I'm going to learn through them. And as I learn through them, it's like me hopping over hurdles. And now I'm moving from the darkness into the light. So again, all of you, every single one of you on this planet, has put specific little hurdles around you through the darkness so that you can leap over it and eventually come into the light. So again, all of you are being challenged in your own unique way.
Right. And I think like the reptilian entities, I somehow, and this does sound crazy, man, but I've been gaining like psychic abilities through some of these entities.
Well, in that sense, more so that they are bringing that out of you.
Right.
Because again, understand that psychic abilities are a natural phenomenon with you. That is something that you inherently carry. So basically, when they work together with certain forms of influences, this triggers you to create certain forms of activations and abilities that are now becoming noticed.
Right. Right. Man,
so nobody in that sense really is giving you anything. They're helping you to unlock yourself, and you are noticing these particular capabilities within yourself. It's like with us or with other particular beings that work together with your energy body. We are sending you specific codes, etc., but it is your body that is digesting those codes. It is your body that is working together and activating these particular codes to bring certain facets of abilities online.
Man, that's so crazy. That's deep. Hey.
So again, in the way is everything is done by you.
And that's what I've been realizing. You know, before I didn't recognize it, but now I'm almost considering myself to be some sort of magician, because I'm starting to see like.
Well, what does a magician mean to you?
To me, magic is like the imagination.
Yes.
Like Magi Nation, you know, a nation of magicians.
Yes, that is correct.
And I see things like a mask, and I think, wow, you can put that mask on and create a new persona, and to me that's like magic, right?
Yes.
But other people, it's like they have some sophisticated thing where they think they have to get all these candles out and do all this stuff, and it has to be at the right time and the right date. And to me, it's like a lot of that.
Well, understand that does actually bring about a significant importance, because what that involves is actually harnessing direct energy, more so that represents the energy that you are looking to cultivate for yourself. So you would understand that magicians in that way are harvesters. They are harvesters of reality. And basically what that means is they are attempting to understand much of the seeds about how life grows. They are attempting to understand more about the life equation. They are understanding more about reality. They're understanding how they can become facilitators through the idea of being able to share the understandings that they discover through reality with others. So again, this would represent the primordial idea of magic, and that the primordial idea of magic is to understand, to be a facilitator to life.
I feel where you're coming from, but it kind of seems like a lot of guys deep into astrology, I've always looked at astrology as being a reflection of myself.
It is.
So it's just like if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then it doesn't really matter where the stars are. You know what I mean? But some people, they think the stars mean.
But again, that's a perspective, right? So the whole idea in that sense is that how it is working mechanically is that you are looking at the reflections of the stars, of the planets, because this is just you looking at your own particular type of clockwork that comes together in this form of astrology. Now, it's very similar as if you were to open up the cabinet of your chest and start to see the cosmos in there. Now, some people like to actually look into this deeper because they are curious about where the astrology energies are attempting to point them, what opportunities are coming their way. That is fine. There may be people who say, oh, okay, well, that's very nice to have that, and close the chest and decide not to bother with astrology. That is fine as well. Reality is by interpretation.
Right on. Right. And hey, man, I was wondering, we've been going back and forth with this for like a year, but I was wondering, before I remember in the past, I was asking you about people, individuals, not spirit guides or anything like that, but just regular entities, regular humans that look out for me on an overall basis. Like, can you tell me a little bit about that? A little bit more? I'm not like not know his name or nothing, but
Are you referring to background people?
yeah, it helped pushing me, looking out for me in a positive way.
Well, people are always looking out for you in that way, but their identities cannot be revealed in that particular way. So basically, in that sense, as we've stated, is that you have a safety net upon this planet. When you reach a certain point, so when you are following more of your path, there is a particular safety net in place that others are working together with you behind the scenes to helping you maintain this particular course. That's the job of what you would know as a spirit guide. Now, spirit guides in that sense can actually appear in physical form because you can have physical spirit guides as well too. So again, that it is very possible that you can meet certain individuals who again may just minutely have a conversation with you, but that conversation has triggered you. It's been something that is so profound, but it was this person that you've met for the first time, and it was only a sentence that they said, and now you feel you have shifted. That is the representation of one guide meeting you in the physical realm.
But are they real people though?
Of course.
Like they have cars and stuff and houses and all that?
Well, it all depends. Again, understand that there can be holograms that can actually just come through and share that experience again, and they will never be seen again. So again, this can depend primarily on the situation. Some particular physical guides can be living their own life and are just contracted to you to share that little bit of information that has greatly bounded your perspective a great deal further, and then you never see them again. So basically, in your reality, they cease to be after that meeting.
Right. Because it seems I can't. It's difficult for me to picture. I can kind of picture, but it's difficult for me to picture like a room somewhere where somebody has a picture of me, and they're just like, like, where's he at? It's like that's sort of like, I don't know. It seems sort of like comic bookish.
That's something we really can't elaborate on.
Oh, there's something to that, but you can't speak on it.
No, it's not that. It's that that's something we cannot elaborate on. We're not here to say, oh, well, this person has a picture of you in their room looking at you in that sense, because first of all, that's not really an energy that we look into too much. Second of all, that would be a violation of free will to give you confirmation in that way.
Right. And it's funny because a lot of the influence I feel is highly spiritual. Like I receive I don't know, I guess you could say like downloads in a way of information.
Well, you all do. You all receive specific downloads, and this is very commonly received through your dream states.
Right. That's so deep.
Now, again, it's not to say that there cannot be downloads that are received in conscious states as well, too. It is the realization, for one example, that when you have one idea within your mind, and all of a sudden another idea pops into your head that feels even better than that one, that would be the example of a download.
Mhm. Right.
So basically what that is doing is that you are touching a tangible layer of new concept. And so now with that old idea of saying, yes, maybe I'll go to the store and I'll buy some food. Oh, wait, here's an even better idea. I can talk to my friend and we can even go to this farmer's market because now there's even more stuff that I wanted. Right there's a download. That was an interception. And so these are interceptive downloads that can actually come through and give you ideas. Now, when you actually work on that new idea and feel that that is much more beneficial for you, this is actually what brings you into higher escalations of vibration.
Right.
Because you are following the much more richer path in that way that really symbolizes more of your own authenticity rather than an old paradigm idea that seemed mediocre or somewhat good. Now you have something that is truly excellent that you wish to pursue. That's the idea of an interceptive download.
Yeah, and it comes, a lot of times I think most people get them like in dream state, but for me it's been like in waking reality.
Well, as we stated, it's not always in dream state. Dream state is the most common, but again, you will find that just living your daily life and all of a sudden having this new idea that comes into your head, and this is something that you wish to pursue, is basically the idea of that interceptive download that you encountered in your awoken conscious state.
Yeah, I realized in this last month, my perspective has changed so much. Like again, I was talking about that girl. like before I saw women as being like, attractive or whatever. I mean, the girl, she's very beautiful, right? But I realized that I never looked at somebody like that. Her spirituality was beautiful, like her heart, like who she was as a not a physical entity, but as a spiritual entity.
Yes.
And I had never seen, I had never really, all this jazz I had talked about, like on the internet about like, love and light and channeling and stuff, I had never seen that before like that.
Yes.
And
that is something that you will notice more and more as you truly become in love with another person. Because when you're truly in love with another person, you see how they are spiritually rich. You see that spiritual wealth, that spiritual enrichment that they bring. It is not so much in the allure of just the physical body anymore.
Yeah. And man, it's so weird because I used to be so deep into like studying secret societies and what was going on in Hollywood in the 1960s and this and that. And it's like those people were a big deal to me, like the Illuminati and all that stuff was a big deal to me. And now, like in the last, like recently, now for some reason this girl has become like a big deal to me. Now to me, she's bigger than the Illuminati. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the whole idea, is that you
right.
choose to make what you feel is the biggest part of your reality stand out. It could be something like an Illuminati, or it could stand out to be a girlfriend.
Right.
It could stand out in that sense to be an old friend that you meet on the bench and spend your afternoon having a delightful conversation. That could be the biggest thing in your entire world. This is what's so great about your world, is you decide what's important. You decide in that sense what is truly significant to your own degree of growth. Truly everything in the universe is significant, but you are giving your own particular type of alignment of significance to best what serves you, to giving you an idea about where you feel you wish to prosper.
Yeah.
This is how we say that it's no more different than what you would understand as playing your own online video games. Looking at something and saying that you are creating a character, and this is your world, whatever you wish to do. Do I want to be a helper? Do I want to be a builder? Do I want to be a soldier? Do I want to be this? Do I want to be that? Everything is available to you. This is an open world of discovery, specifically designed by you.
You know what, man? That's so deep because like I've been like a lot of the friends I've come across lately, like there was a guy, he was a rapper, and he was a rapper with that rapper who died of AIDS, Eazy-E, or allegedly died of AIDS. I don't know what he died of, but there was a rapper named Eazy-E back in like the late 80s, early 90s. And I did an interview with this guy, and I thought there was just going to be an interview, but the guy turned out me and him are actually friends now.
Yes.
And the guy grew up in Compton, California, and me and him have way two different lives. But I realized because of spirituality and concepts how close I can connect to people who live in completely different places and have gone through different stuff just through concepts.
Yes.
Just like like Rob who channels Treb, right?
Yes.
Like me and Rob lives in Michigan. He lives in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And Rob was instrumental in helping me to groom my spirituality, and we connected on that level. And now I consider him we talk all the time. I met him in person at the channel panel thing, and so now I consider him a friend. But 5 years ago, I never would have met these type of people. You know what I mean?
Understood. Because again, that's you being a caterpillar, and now you're a butterfly.
Right.
So that's basically the difference, is that many people will look at this and saying, oh my goodness, so many years ago I would have never have done what I'm doing, especially for this conduit. Brad himself never imagined that he'd be channeling an extraterrestrial.
Right.
Brad himself was once into marketing, he was once into filmmaking, he was once into acting. That was his perceived career. Something took place, a trigger happened, and now he cannot stop doing what he enjoys doing because this is truly who he is. That's again giving a particular type of symbolism here. That again, you were a different person all those years ago, and now here you are right now. It's the caterpillar becoming the butterfly.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh man, you know what? I just remembered something. Last summer, I was walking along the lake, and I met this guy, and he was an older man. He looked identical to the Duke of Kent, the guy who heads World Freemasonry.
All right.
He looked like he could have been his brother.
Well, it wasn't him, but again, yes.
I was sitting tripping, And I'm wondering, like, was that like a walk-in? A
But
house?
again, that's something that you are creating because you have familiarity with that. It's something for you to see. Now, this is actually what will happen, is that some people will actually create what's known as mirage mirrors. And basically, these represent people that you have, in that sense, associated a great deal of your energy with as a reminder to you. They're not actually the people, but they're actually reminding you about, oh, well, this is something I looked into all those times ago. So it captivates your attention because there's something there that it's attempting to tell you.
Yeah. And you know the strange thing? Even though a lot of those entities are people, you know, I always say entity because I'm thinking
You can refer to them as entities because that's truly what you are.
right. Even though I'm sure a lot of them probably would frown upon me or something, but sometimes I like them. Like,
Why would it matter if they frown upon you or not? That's really not important. The whole idea in
right.
that sense is that here's what you do, is a feeling that, well, if I do this, maybe they'll frown upon me. Again, what that is that's still a statement of conditionality. That's
Right.
still a statement that you're putting upon yourself and saying, it doesn't matter if they smile or they frown at me. What matters is my perspective of them. They can see me in any way they wish because they're in their own universe. That's their own particular type of choice. However, I see them in this way. So validate more so of your perspective, wondering otherwise, oh, what did they think of me? That doesn't matter. What do you think of you? That's what matters.
Do have a lot of those entities observe me? Not necessarily them in particular. I know you can't violate their free will, but just in that arena.
Well, again, you are being observed by many different beings, both in your physical world and your own spiritual world. Again, you are in the state of observation. You are under a looking glass. So there are beings that are truly unforeseen that are communicating with you on a subconscious level all the time. You have to understand that your subconscious is no more different than what you would know as a server.
Right.
And as a server, there is many different forms of computational codes and programs and subprograms, et cetera, that are running and operating in that particular way. Now, what in that sense is the server outputting to? Some type of interface. This is the interface of reality. So you are always in a state of observation. Is it okay for you to be comfortable with that? Yes. Because the whole idea in that sense is saying, well, I wonder if this person's observing me. I wonder if this person's observing me. When you say that, it's still representing the idea that someone still has a higher value than you. When you're looking at it and saying that it is all right if people observe me because I feel great myself. I see myself in a high state of value. I know I am valuable to the equation of the infinite. Now, when that actually happens, you're no longer concerned about the idea about who's viewing you, or what's this person doing, or what does this person think of me, etc.
Well,
it's still looking into the idea that there needs to be a generation of security within yourself.
I wasn't. I feel where you're coming from, but I wasn't necessarily looking at it like that. Like, I was looking at it like the Duke of Kent dude. He runs the Freemason people, but
yes, this is not referring to the Duke of Kent. This is referring more so
general?
to the people that you're referring to. Are other people observing me? Is this person going on? Is this person going to frown at me? Or is this person going to smile at me, etc.? So it's basically maintaining yourself in a state of security that makes you feel good regardless of how another person may perceive you. You may have a person in that sense who frowns with you down the street and walks past you, not bothered by it, because they're saying that, well, that person just created an image of me that made them frown. That's all right. I wish them well. Now I continue on my day. That's it. You are becoming untouchable by that energy because you see the value within yourself. That is key.
I hear what you're saying. That if I see a reflection like that, then that's that entity's business to have that reflection. That doesn't change who I am. That's just where they're at. You know, that's just it's what I make of it.
They are a catalyst entity. Now understand again that that's something that you're testing yourself with as well. If a person basically has this frowny face and in that sense is walking past you, all right, how does that make me feel in that moment? So again, understand that everything that you do is in that sense mutually exclusive. So one person will always see you differently. It is impossible for one person to see you identically as you see yourself. Can't be done. So basically what's happening is it's all similarities, but it is not identicalness. That is how unique you are. You cannot have two of the same snowflakes. So again, that's the same approach here. One person will always see you different than another. That's how the universe works. That's how unique the coding is.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. Now we are nearly up on time. Do you have one last question before we conclude?
Well, do you have any advice for my
We would recommend that you are starting a diary, starting a journal, and being able to document much of your thoughts, document much of your feelings. Be very, very honest with how you see yourself each and every single day. And look into what you have written and discover, well, am I satisfied with this aspect of myself? If I'm not, what do I feel I can do to attract positive transformation, positive reinforcement into making that aspect balanced? So what you are attempting to do right now is discovering your authenticity. Now, we would also suggest that this young lady that you are seeing, to get to know her name. And so again, that would be a particular aspect because again, she represents a very large catalyst to you right now. But again, being able to start as something as simple as a journal and just write about your day. How was your day today? What challenges did you go through? What revelations did you experience? What do you feel you can improve relating to how you experienced yourself today? And make that a continual goal to follow your path of authenticity. Anything negative that may come up requires an equal and opposite reaction of positive reinforcement. This is the law of equivalent exchange. So again, that is how you are able to balance that quotient as you allow yourself to connect more to your authentic self.
Okay, good looking out, Adronis.
All right. We thank you very much, Jamil, for the opportunity of this interaction together with you today. I am Adronis of Sirius. Thank you again. Farewell for this timing, and we now return to the conduit. We'll speak to you again, as now is forever, and all is one. Goodbye. All right. Thank you, Jamil. Great session.
Yeah, right.
So I will go ahead and send you this MP3 here the next little while, next few minutes, I should say, and I look forward to speaking to you again the next little while.
Yeah, and thanks for putting that 7 minutes in, and I look forward to talking to you definitely by, hopefully by the summer.
All right, sounds good, man. Take care.
Yeah, you too.